Hey guys, and welcome to another Stratco how-to video. I'm Phil, the garden expert for Stratco, and today we're looking to build a Vegepod kit. I'm joined by the lovely Lachie from Vegepod to give me a hand.
Nice to see you again, Phil.
Yeah, you too. Do you want to walk us through Vegepod, what they're about and what we're going to do today?
Yeah, absolutely. Really excited to help you set this one up. Essentially, Vegepod is a raised, self-watering garden bed, and what it does is it makes vegetable growing easy and convenient for anyone. They've got a self-watering feature, which allows you to self-water for 2 to even 3 weeks, and also has a protective mesh over the top, so you get protected by animals, pests, insects, and weed pollens.
That sounds perfect. So, with no further ado, let's get started.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so it looks like we've got the Vegepod trolley in front of us. Lachlan, why are we starting with the trolley?
We start with the trolley so we can get everything off the ground straight away. So we don't want to build the pod on the ground, we want to save the knees, get up nice and high. So Phil, we're starting off with the cross brace of the Vegepod. Now essentially we've got the trolley flipped over, we're going to work from the bottom up. We're going to use our rounded head bolts that you've got there, and they're going to go from underneath and come up. So we'll get all those tightened down and then we can start on our side braces. So at the moment we're just finger tightening, but at the very end when everything's put together we're going to make sure everything's tight. So we've got a little wrench inside our kit and we're going to tighten everything down before we get started on our pod. What we're going to do now is put on our side bracings. Now what these do is they hold the supports for the legs. So we're going to tack these onto the sides around all 4 corners. Once we're done there, we'll get these side braces in and they'll tack on the inside. With this process here, we're going to throw in, we're going to make sure that the holes up top are facing each other on each arm. So these are going to be parallel with your holes over there, and the same on the other side. They're going to be running parallel. Okay,
and we're going to run them this way, so opposite the way these cross braces are.
Okay, now that the legs are on, what we're going to do is set up the cross bracings for our wheels. So we'll match up our holes here that are facing parallel with our other holes. We're going to put in these little flaps on the inside like this. Now from this point here, Phil, we're going to grab one of our cross bracings, set it up in the middle, and then our big bolts that we have in our bag there, we're going to tighten all the way through. We're going to put on the wheels, and how they fit in is they go into these countersunk holes here. Now it's important when we put these in to lock them down first, so when we're putting them in this doesn't slide around.
Oh, that makes
so
sense.
Save yourself a little bit of time and a headache, lock those down,
right,
and then they can go straight in. Okay Phil, so we're all wrapped up there, we've flipped it back around. The important thing to do now is tighten off every one of these little nuts and bolts that we've put on the pod, and once we're finished there we'll take these little grommets and we'll place them over the top of our wheel screws.
Now the next part of the project is the Vegepod itself.
Yep.
We've got a medium one in front of us. Walk us through it. What can you tell us about this Vegepod?
This is the Goldilocks size, not too big, not too small. So compared to some of our other offerings, we've got 2 meters, or we can go even down to 1/2 meter. But what is really good about the medium is that it fits ergonomic spaces, verandas, apartment buildings, even in the backyard as well. In terms of soil today, we're looking at about 220 litres, and we're also going to put in 50 litres of perlite. We have the tubs out now, everything's out of the box, and what we're going to do is we're going to rest it on top of the trolley here. Now, an important thing to mention is that we want to have our release holes facing the same way out the back here.
Right.
Now, what these are is they're escapes from the top of our reservoir. So you see here we have 16 litre troughs underneath our soil, and once they fill up with water, any excess just goes out that little hole here. So there's no such thing as overwatering in the Vegepod. What we're going to do now is the walls. So essentially what they do is they come over the top like this. This smooth surface faces the outside, and we want to make sure that this little curved edge here on one of our longer parts that you'll find in the box is going on this side here. So to come in here, all the sidewalls here are going to snap click together very easily. So what we do, take some of our parts out. So these are your wall components, and these here are your corner pieces. Now to put these on, we just come over the top of this little right angle here, snap clicks like that. Straight in, nice and easy. So we'll do that on every single side, and then from there we can attach the wall pieces. Now how we do that is we come out, smooth side facing out like we said, come over the top, snap click together. And then we can do that all the way along. Like I mentioned before, this little section here has a bit of a lip to it. Our other connector bits, they don't have a lip at all, which means that they're going to go on the edge here. So like I said, smooth facing out, just comes over the top, snaps in like that. And from now, it's just a simple process of placing your bolts in all the way around and then tightening them up. We're going to put in our side supports. What they do is they just come in like this, snap click in, you'll hear that little click. Okay, the base is all set up, so now what we're going to do is install our wicking trays. Now this allows the pod to be self-watering. So we set up these trays, 3 to a base, and what happens here, we'll put soil over the top of this, and essentially every time we water over the top of our soil, it'll seep through and fill up that reservoir below. Now the way in which these trays are designed is to allow contact with soil and the moisture below. So when your roots grow down, dry out the soil, it becomes a process of osmosis. So the water then wicks back up to the root. So you can actually go 2 to 3 weeks without having to water your plants with this system in place. So now Phil, what we're going to do is we're going to set up the Vegecover. Now the Vegecover is a great way to keep all your pests, insects and animals out of your pod. It is important when we're opening this up, if we're using a knife, we don't want to dig it too deep into the box. Definitely a lot of people have done that and come out with a little big hole. That's definitely going to let the pests in. So
I do see the warning on there.
Do see the warning on there, so we're going to be nice and careful. So we've got the base connected here. All of our 4 corner parts have been used. Now we're going to get into the hoops that come over the top. So they're just going to pop in to all these holes. You want to make sure that these are facing upwards. And like you're doing there, place it in. Okay, so now, Phil, we're going to set up our irrigator. So within this little bag that you'll see inside the mesh components box is going to be some zip ties. Now, we'll zip tie our sprayer over the top and have our hose connection hanging down like so. So just going to tighten this clip over the top, and that makes sure that the irrigator doesn't pop off when you plug it into the hose. So you want that nice and tight, and once that's on, it's time to put on your mesh. Probably the easiest part to do on the entire pod. The only thing you want to remember is to make sure that the hose hole is on the same way as where the hose is going to escape. So just pop that on over the top, just like so. So we'll flip this up, come over the top, and then just wrap over the pole as you go around. We're going to pop the mesh over the top, but first what we have to do is we have to set up some clips so that the mesh is going to anchor down. So we take these little curved clips that you see in the bag here, and what we do is we place it on the back where these little black sections are here. We pop one of these out, and with this little corner section facing the back, we slide in and click with our fingers. We definitely want to make sure we hear that click. So that'll just go along the back here. Only 4 are needed from the back and 2 at the front.
The next part of the project is planting this bad boy up.
Exactly right.
You said about perlite and potting mix. I think we should get that sorted out and get planting.
Yeah, okay. So how we're going to start here is we're going to put about 20 litres of perlite over the top of these trays. Now what that's going to do is really help with the water retention and self-watering. When you put in perlite, you can actually extend that self-watering even further than that 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, so we're going to put in 20 litres on each side. Now, we don't want to breathe this in. So it's a rocky material. It does let off a little bit of dust. We want to make sure if we are going to use this, we're going to be wearing a mask when we set it up. So Phil, now we're going to put in some high quality soil. Now, we definitely want to go the best we can get because soil actually lasts longer in the Vegepod. Now, this recycles nutrients. There's nowhere really for it to escape to. So instead of having to change this over once every year or 2 years, you can actually go about 5 years. So it's going to stay fresh. All you want to do at the start of your season is top it up with a little bit of nutrients. You can use liquid fertiliser, compost, or even just put in a little half bag of premium mix. And now as we're putting this in, all we want to do is just get a tiny bit of perlite and kind of flake it through with the soil.
All right, Lachie, so we've done a great job of getting this all prepared. Vegepod's built, trolley's done, filled it with the perlite and the potting mix mixture like you suggested. Now we're into my comfort zone, the plants. So I've been out to the nursery here at Jepps Cross, selected a selection of the vegetables that are going to be ready for this time of the year. All right, so we've got the basic layout. We've got some lettuce, we've got some peas, some spinach. We were talking sort of as we were choosing these, the selection of the vegetables is quite important, isn't it? Because there is a ridge through the centre.
Yeah, absolutely right. So you do want to have some of your more shallower root systems right in the middle here because of that spine. Now, when you go over to the sides, you have about 12 to 13 inches of soil depth. Feel free to put in whatever you like, your root vegetables like your carrots, beets, onions, garlic, whatever you like. Just through here, I'd recommend maybe some herbs or some shallow roots.
I guess we are sort of a little bit controlled by the height of it, but
yep.
For things like tomatoes?
Yeah, so with tomatoes, what you want to do is grow your dwarf varieties.
Yep.
Now, things that are only going to get to a certain amount of height, we call them determinants. So your undeterminants will just shoot straight up. You can technically grow them in here as well. You just have to do a process called bonsai, which is chopping the tops, and then eventually over time, the plant will know not to go up and just branch out.
Oh, this is exciting. So I reckon the next thing for us to do is to get these bad boys into the ground and get them watered.
Yeah, let's get it.
All right.
So Phil, as we're planting, what we also want to be conscious about is our spacing. Now, in the Vegepod, things really do tend to explode. If you don't space out long enough, you're going to end up with just veggies just crawling over the top of each other. So the way we've got it spaced out now is absolutely perfect. If you're not sure about planting yourself, you can go onto a square foot gardening guide online, or you can ask someone at Stratco. I'm sure they'll be able to help you out.
All right, mate, well, that looks great. I mean, it's all planted out now. The last thing we obviously have to do is water these in.
Yep.
You mentioned earlier in the video about it being a wicking bed. Now, we're going to water this in to get them settled down. In terms of it turning into that wicking technology, how long are we looking for?
That's a good question. So we're looking at about a week to a week and a half. What we want these plants to do is to grow in about 5 to 6 inches in height. And then that's when we'll know that the roots have grown down and are starting to feed off that wicking bed.
One last thing that we talk about, once it's all watered in, once it's all prepped and ready to go, the last thing we do is about fertilising. Now, the potting mix that we chose is a premium quality potting mix. It's got fertiliser built into it, but for that long-lasting care, what are you recommending?
So I'm recommending some Vegepod Booster. Like we have a commercial grade canopy, this is also some commercial grade fertilizer. So this is extremely strong stuff. We want to be very light on how we apply this. So at the end of the season, or at the start of a new season, what we'll do is we'll get 3 capfuls into about 9 litres of water, and then we'll spray it over the top of our soil. That's going to top up all the nutrients and anything that soil needs to have a really, really good season of growing.
And I think the beauty with it is that what you're talking about is it's going to filter through, isn't it? And it's going to be available for the plants in that well as well.
Exactly right. So every time we're watering over the top of this soil, it's floating down and it's going to catch in that reservoir. So when your roots hit it, it's really high nutrient soil and really high nutrient water.
Oh, well, I think the next thing for us to do is get it watered and get some boost on.
Yeah, let's give it a spray.